and a new coach at the biggest program in the SEC, which we'll pivot to there, and Kalen DeBoer, because after 17 seasons, Nick Saban retired. He's now your colleague and my colleague here at ESPN. Let's start from the Saban perspective first. He said with me on SportsCenter the other day, and I know you guys have talked about it extensively in the SEC Network, I said, how much have you been involved since you retired? And he said, I'm available. I've been available. I've talked with them. How much, Paul, are you hearing having Saban's presence still there has helped this transition of power at Alabama?
I think it's helped the most in recruiting. I really don't think Kalen DeBoer needs Nick Saban for X's and O's advice, but recruiting is critical. And I've seen a number of 5-stars in recent weeks commit to Alabama, and I feel pretty confident that Saban's probably played a role. I mean, nobody should be surprised by anything the guy does, but I mean, he's very artfully transitioned into this new role. He seems to like it so far, but I know that he's made calls, but I don't think he's actively involved. I mean, he showed up at DeBoer's press conference. He showed up at the spring game. A couple of eyebrows were raised then. You know, why is he here? But I think he wants them to know, if you need me, I'm here. He probably really doesn't want to be bothered that much because he's been there before. But I think he's still kind of like, I don't know how to describe. I mean, he's still somewhat the coach, but he's not the coach. That's very poor English for a guy that used to make a living writing. But his shadow is still there. But I think DeBoer has had as smooth an off season as I've ever seen. He took a hit the first week. He lost Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
He lost Julian Sayin, the incoming, the great freshman. A couple other players, but he's made up for it. I mean, he may not have completely. I mean, you don't make up for losing Caleb Downs, who went to Ohio State. He's not only a 5-star, but he's like an elite difference maker 5-star.
Saying, yeah.
But I think they talk, but I think Saban's really into this new job, and the colleague thing is a little bit overdone. I don't know about you, Matt. I've been in a lot of green rooms with you at national championship games. I've never seen like 4 guys hover over you like. And I'm not going to mention their names, but you know one of them. He's got another. I mean, he literally can't move without these 4 guys, or 3 or 4 guys following him everywhere he goes. He's got his own guy and an ESPN guy, and then there's just like a guy that goes along for the ride. So I mean, he still feels like the center of attention, but he's good. I mean, nobody ever doubted he'd be a good analyst, but he where it really will be interesting is when he shows up on sets with other people who have done cursory preparation, and he's been studying for 6 months.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that'll happen. And it'll be interesting to see, because he's still as prepared as anyone, even in his new life. And as for Coach DeBoer, Paul, I think when this thing all settles, we're going to look at Kalen DeBoer as an absolute gift and home run for Alabama. Having said that, like any new coach, it could take a little while for the system to be implemented. But all things considered, I don't think there's going to be that, oh man, we hired the wrong guy to fill it. This isn't going to be Ron Zook after Steve Spurrier at Florida. This is a home run.
He's prepared for everything except one thing, and that's what happens if chaos reigns. And I'll spare you the Mike Tyson quote that I'm sick of by now. But let's say he loses a game. There's no way to prepare for the culture that is Alabama on the Monday after a loss. You and I have had that conversation many times on this podcast. I've been with you on SportsCenter after one of those. And there are certain days that you just cannot describe, because the Alabama – I mean, I was asked by somebody, what's the expectation level for Alabama this year? And I wasn't being flippant. This wasn't like a first take, hot take. I said it's playoff or bust, because it is. There's no sugarcoating. Yeah, I mean, you don't go, well, we went 8-4, but kind of Billy Napier it, like we're building some character. I think Kalen DeBoer tries that, he'll get run out of town. But he won't try that, and he probably won't have to. But just check back with me after all, and including myself. That first loss, let's say it's Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You don't even know that game's on the schedule. I mean, and I'm not trying to inject myself into the conversation here, but you've heard the Finebaum show after an Alabama loss.
Oh, and it's must listen and must watch TV. And
Yeah.
look, and we saw what he did with, I mean, half of his offense from Washington's a first round pick in the NFL. And so look,
Yeah.
getting talent at Alabama is not going to be an issue. He's going to cultivate that talent. I think we're going to look at this hire unless something goes horribly wrong 3 years down the road and be like, damn, Alabama, Alabama. All right. So with the 12-team playoff, I'll ask it to you this way. How many teams from the SEC get in the new 12-team playoff?
I think it's not even a conservative answer. I think probably the correct answer is 4.
Yep.
It's not more than 4.
Nope.
You know, and by the way, I mean, all my sycophantic friends down below, you know, are probably saying, you know, 14,
Yes.
16. I mean, I don't mean to blast my friends in the media. Most of them don't even, know what the system's. I mean, you know, it's a convoluted system, Ad, as you've discussed 1,000 times. It's hard to get more than 4. It could be 3, but I think it's somewhere, 3.7 would be my guess.
I would say for me, Georgia in, Texas in, Ole Miss 10-2 in, and then I think you're fighting for that 4th spot between Alabama, Missouri, and LSU.
Yeah, and
I think those are the 3 you have to watch.
And don't forget, Missouri is on Alabama's schedule this year.
Missouri's
yeah. And I was with Drink yesterday, Coach Drinkwitz, and he has come in here like a clown before, cracking jokes, calling media guys out. He was like right at the Chamber of Commerce yesterday. Had the black suit and the gold and black tie, and was just going out of his way to be boring. I mean, he finally cracked a joke or two, but it was about me. It wasn't about him. And Matt, you know more coaches than I do. When coaches do that, they know what they've got. They don't need to be a clown. They're just protecting the turf.
That's it. And Luther Burden's back. Brady Cook, the quarterback's back. I mean, there's a lot of talent back. So I think those 3 teams that we discussed, 10-2 gets you in this thing. All right.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, I think have the talent to be at least 10-2. And then I think you're going to see Alabama just only because the questions of the new head coach and how does that system take. I think that's the only question mark with them. LSU, I think Garrett Nussmeier, I'm all in on him. I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. Yeah. And then just trying to figure out what happens with Missouri if last year wasn't a 1-year aberration.
Give me something.